It's time.
Hello, RealmsCon! Hi! Sorry for the delay getting started. Welcome to the Ouran panel! You see me on my phone, it's because I'm filming this for Anime Unlocked, so sorry. Let's make that happen. So, we're really happy to be here. I'm extremely excited because I can't remember the last time I got to do an Ouran panel with this many members of the host club. It's really cool, especially Honey Senpai. Honey Senpai! So, Honey Senpai is here in the building. You know who's not here in the building? Tamaki Senpai, but he's here in spirit. He made you this video, so take a look at that. I have no idea what it is. I'm just going to listen to you. So hopefully you can see the screen. If you can't, feel free to move over there, and we'll take a look at it. This is a terrible video that I made. It's awful. Turning it off. Okay, so without further ado, here's a message from our fearless leader or something, and we'll get back to y'all in just a second.
Commoners, or as I shall henceforth refer to you, Realms Commoners. I'm to understand that you're having an Ouran Highschool Host Club reunion, but without the king. How is this possible? The only thing my beautiful brain can come up with is that matters of extreme importance, and most likely elegance, have necessitated my absence. But I want you to know that my beautiful heart is broken that I can't join you. How I long to look into the eyes of every poor person here and tell them how much I miss them. So, have a healthy drink of Commoner's coffee in my honor, and just allow me to say, long live RealmsCon!
What do you know? I guess we could have some time on his hands. Anyway, so probably you have a lot of questions for us? Yes? No? No questions? Cool, we're gonna leave then. So it's nice to have you. No? Okay. We just want to Q&A it the whole time? Yeah. Yes! Alright, come on down. Here we have the lovely Briana Palencia. Also known as Shido Technology. So if you have a question, raise your hand. Briana's gonna come over to you and feel free to ask it of us as individuals, us as a show, whatever. We're excited. We're happy to be here for you guys. So, who's got a question? We can't really see you, however. We're being blinded. We could.
I am a Todd hard
moving it.
but Todd, as Hikaru, could you confess to Haruhi your everlasting love?
I like it. Let us get set up for this, though. We want to come down where A, the lights aren't in our face, and B, we can see you. Yeah.
I also like that you're basically setting the stage for the scene that you're going to act out in full.
Well, what was your request one more time?
As your characters, Todd, could you confess your undying love to Haruhi?
I'm waiting.
Big mood. First question, yes.
Open up your eyes, Tommy will lie. Hikaru is true, really loving you. Well, I have to give Kaoru a sponge bath, but that'll only take 4 hours. I'll let you know.
We got another question here. Okay, so this is for everyone. What is the worst fan fiction you've seen?
I don't really read a lot of fan fiction. You're laughing, like, why not? Maybe I should start so I have an answer for that question. I don't know. It'd probably be like...
Don't!
Apparently I can't now, I'm not allowed. Have you read any fan fiction? Yes.
No?
No?
No, I really haven't.
Yes, actually. I
did a season of a show called Otaking Heads on Alpha with Geek and Sundry. And we would do fanfic readings with actors from the shows. And one time twice I had fic on, actually. You guys can check it out. Go to projectalpha.com. And I pulled fanfics that would make him uncomfortable on purpose. And what I do is you replace the naughty words with random words, like he would say like, man, Hikaru, I need you to come over here because I need to gummy bear you right now, or something like that. And so we did that a few times. One was with Ed and Ling. That had something in it. And these aren't fanfics I write. I go and I look.
So you claim.
Just because my pen name, the pen name of the fanfics has the same initials, but I search for these fanfics, and let me tell you, I didn't know the world of fanfic until I started doing this show, and the hole is deep. And it is whatever you want. It sounds a lot like Thailand, but it's... meaning there's a lot of flavor and spice within the world of fan fiction is what I mean. And it can get spicy. And so that's what I discovered. But there is an episode of that, and it was very, it matured me. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for that question.
Who's got another one? That's over here. Excuse me.
Oh,
yes, I want to know if when you know how the twins kept saying how they wanted somebody to tell them apart. So when somebody was able to tell them apart,
That would be me, in case you're lost right now. That is me. Okay, yeah.
Was that them able for them to like break apart and start being like their own individual person? Because I mean, is that what they wanted?
I think I'll answer it from the outside perspective, and then I think Todd can answer it as one of the twins. Maybe they sort of wondered if they really were individuals or not. So finally, Haruki comes along and is able to tell them apart. And I think that other people knew that they were individuals too, but they had never asked them, hey, which one of us is which? No one could tell before, and she could, so maybe that did answer that question for them and allow them to feel safer in exploring who they were as individual guys. I don't know, what do you think? Hikaru?
I don't think they wanted to be separated because they're in a routine. I mean,
You're pooping on my answer.
No, for me, I think it's selfishly they didn't want to be separated because they're each other's security blankets. And so they take care of each other, and even though they break each other down at times, they take care of each other and they're always there for each other, and they know they can really relate to how each other feels a lot quicker and faster because they're so intuitive with each other, because you have to be when you get this close to a family member all the time, I feel like.
Look at our fun vases, you guys.
Yes.
Who's got questions? Don't knock them over. Have any of you been kissed or have kissed Vic Mignogna?
Have any of us not?
That's none of your business. But sure, I mean... No, I don't think Vic and I have ever kissed. Not for lack of trying, he just wasn't into it.
Anyway, other questions.
I mean, was this a question like, have we kissed him? Have we been conscious or unconscious at the time? Because he and I...
How can you kiss someone if you were...
Because there have been times when I've watched an episode of Ouran and been so blown away by his performance, I pass out. And then I wake up in his arms. And I don't know what happened in that time between the end credits until I woke up. But I have kissed him. kissed me several times in like weird situations on the cheek, but both cheeks. Yeah, you've seen it, Lucy.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he's Italian. That's why, you know.
He's a kisser.
Yeah, he's a kisser.
Both cheeks.
Yeah.
Both cheeks or both cheeks?
Both cheeks.
All the cheeks.
It's a very relatable question. How many people in this room have cheeks? All of you should be raising your hands. How many of you know Briana? All of you know. There we go. Universal question.
Where's Briana? I don't see her anymore. Briana, where are you?
Over here. Over there.
Oh, hi. Who would you say is the first and last character you would like to swap with each other?
Oh, who would I like,
Swap?
swap? Yeah.
Oh, of each other. Like, I want to play this character.
Like, who's the first and last? Like, who should be your first choice, and who would you like never?
Never want to be
Is that right?
of each other's roles.
Yeah,
Oh.
in the host club.
In the host club.
In the
or
host
in
club?
Let's keep it.
club.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be Mori senpai because I wouldn't make any money.
That's the best answer there
All
is.
of Travis's lines in like an hour.
That's exactly right. That's a really good answer. That's really
Sorry, Travis.
Who has an awesome role in this show? So great. I mean, Caitlin is awesome, but who would want to play that role if you're a girl?
I would love to have played one of the twins, but I couldn't have done it justice the way you directed, so I wouldn't even bother. And I guess, yeah, Mori. I wouldn't want to play Mori because that's like nothing. Yeah, we're having like it's a great show, but awesome. I got $20. Like, it's not as much fun. Yeah, no, I definitely one of the twins, and definitely not Mori.
Sorry, Travis.
Sorry, Travis.
I'd want to be Usa-chan. Because everybody loves bunnies. And I wouldn't want to be...
Not true. Because Haruhi says, I don't really like bunnies.
Oh, well then we couldn't be friends. The thing that I would least want to be is... Who's the one in the host club that has the blonde hair, is an elitist, cries a lot in the corner? Who is that? What? Tom Key? Mr. Tom Key. I don't want to be Mr. Tom Key.
So I didn't want to be Mori senpai, but a character that I secretly love, but she's like evil and she's kind of the almost downfall of the club, is Eclair. Eclair Tonnerre, who shows up, played by Colleen Klinkenbeard. I just think I really like her character design, and she's so messed up. But apart from her, I also adore Renge. I love Renge. We have him in the front row. I think the people on Anime Unlocked need to see you. Come over here. Come stand in the light, Renge child. Look, there's light right in the middle of the room. Go stand in it and let everyone see how amazingly darling you are.
And the lines you messed up most on.
I'm sure I can't remember an exact favorite, but I know it had something to do with cake and liking cake. Every time cake was mentioned, then everything got into a giggle fit and it was super fun. I mean, but yes. And what I messed up the most, I have no idea.
Lucy Christian just doesn't mess up.
No.
Like ever. I've directed this girl. She does not
I
mess
am
up.
sort of known as a machine in the booth.
Yeah, because she doesn't make mistakes.
She's a robot.
I am. No, I wish I had a better answer, but I don't remember messing up a whole lot. Because you never did.
You gave the rest of us time to mess up. I think my favorite line in the entire show, the one that for my character is, well, you can always pay me back with your body. first episode I ever saw when I was working on the show as a time coder, and I had no context for what was going on in that scene. All I knew is it's kind of hot. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I want to play this guy. And the line I messed up the most easily was, "What is it now, Daddy?" Because I kept doing it, and Kayla would be like, "No, you sound sexy. That's not a line. It's not. You're not like, hey, Daddy. You're just calling him Daddy." I'm like, but I have no frame of reference to how to say this line except like, "What is it now, Daddy?" Like, no, still too sexy. Still too sexy. Okay, coming to her again. What is it now, Daddy? No, Tatum, it's still too sexy. Like this went on forever until finally I was like, "What is it now, Daddy?" She's like, "There, that. Thank you." 2 hours later.
You guys made me think of perspective, and it's like, it's interesting when you think of their lines just from a little bit different perspective. So your line was like, you can always pay me back with your body. I'm kind of known as a machine in the booth. I just don't mess up. I'm fantastic. Rarely do I ever make a mistake. We love Corpus Christi. We love Corpus. We also love Corpus Christi. But, who wants a roll of paper towels? My favorite line, I guess, anytime I had to match Greg was fun because it was a race to see who would record first. Because people are like, do you guys get in the booth together and record at the same time? One of us would get in and record first and the other would have to match that person. And so that was always fun to see. The lines that I messed up on the most, I think I messed up a lot on that day. Remember that day my grandpa, I came in one day and I had just found out my grandpa died. And so I went in there and I was like, man, we gotta do this session. And it was like, you know, the big tear, the anime tear. But we persevered, and thank you for being understanding. Chrysanthemum. I couldn't say chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemums. You know, I grow chrysanthemums. They're huge.
My favorite line in the show is, no way in hell, senpai. And the one that I messed up on the most is well documented in the outtakes, and it's a major hole! I really hated saying it and felt like I could never quite get it right. Yes, I messed up a lot. And because he's not here, and we'll keep picking on Travis, also in the outtakes, the scene from the episodes in Karuizawa when Honey thinks she's going to help Haruhi and Hikaru on their date by being an old man ice cream peddler. She's got like the mustache and the big like rice patty hat on. And Travis could not get over, A, how adorable Honey was, because Travis is this big, tall, hulking guy that can be reduced to nothing by cute, small things. Like, he really loves cute, tiny things. So seeing Honey Senpai, he was like having giggle fits. And then he thought it was even funnier that the way Mori stops the situation is by essentially coming in and like clotheslining Honey Senpai off of the screen. And when you're hearing in those outtakes, it's like beep, beep, beep. Like, that really was him. Like, dude, Travis, get it together. It looked like 5 lines in this whole 5 episodes. It's great, but I love him. He's awesome, and Mori Senpai wouldn't be the same without him. So, thanks for your question.
Hey, Caitlin, do you have any like really embarrassing stories of like everyone that you directed on this film?
Does that come from the audience? Is that just your question, Briana?
Roast. I'd have to think about that for a while. Let me think. Only
consider it.
Ruminate.
Look at the back here. Oh, hi.
Oh, we lost you.
Oh,
back now.
But it's red, the light's red.
Oh, okay. So I want to know, what do you think happened to Tom?
After they got
What? Wait, what? Oh, okay, when two people love each other very, very much. Well, when these two people love each other very, very much.
Tell me on the bell, Snap, where I...
Okay, what do we think happened after? So, if you haven't read the manga, that is what is implied that happens in their future at some point, is that Tamaki and Haruhi are, get married. Hooray, good for them! So I guess they want to know, hypothetically, what is married life like for Tamaki Senpai and little Haru-chan?
Take it away, anybody.
Well, I mean, marriage is a complex thing. I think there's a lot of mood swings. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of primping and taking a long time to get ready for dates, and then that's just Tamaki. On the other side of it, it's about I don't know. What is it like? You tell me, Luci. You've been married a long time.
Oh. I'm sure that
Fancy tuna. Say that again.
Fancy tuna!
That's a safe word.
That's
I have nothing to add. Next question.
Sound guy in here? Is there a sound guy in here? Because we do need more batteries. This is dead. This is like pretty much dead. It's gonna die on its own.
Wave to the camera, everybody! Wave to the camera! What we got?
What's it like to be working with everyone in the cast?
What's it like to be working with everyone in the cast? I guess I'm the only one who can answer that because I've worked with everyone in the cast. It was a dream. Are you kidding? It was wonderful. If you don't really know the story about me and Ouran, well, let me tell you. I'll try to be concise. This is a show that I discovered because a friend introduced me to it, and I watched it all and thought, man, I sure hope Funimation gets this show because I really, really, really love it. So I was going into offices, telling people I didn't know if they could even do anything about it. Like, there's this show called Ouran High School Host Club, and we have to get it, please. Oh my gosh. And they're like, who is this person? Is she a voice actor? What's she doing here? But eventually we did get it. And thankfully it ended up in the right hands of a producer who then gave it to me to direct it. And so it was just a long time coming for me. And I am so happy with everybody in the show. It was a painstaking process, auditioning and deciding on who gets to be these characters that I'd already fallen in love with so much, and I loved it. I look back on that time in my life. It took us about 6 months to record Ouran, and in my whole career, it's one of the happiest times. I was working really hard, but I knew because it mattered so much to me, it had to matter to the fans, and I just felt really good about the work we were doing. I felt like even at the hardest points, or like, oh my gosh, we have to fix this crazy monologue, or this is tough, or the schedules are rough, or we're working late, but I just knew that it was going to be something special, and so it's a dream. If I could go back in time, I would live those 6 months again in a heartbeat. You guys are precious to me.
I did something today that I don't know I've ever done quite the way I did today. But I saw Caitlin down in the dealer's room, and I said, come here. Put my stuff down, I gave her a hug, and I said, I need to thank you for the opportunity to be in Ouran. I don't know if I've ever actually said it like that, but I signed more Usa-chans this weekend than I ever have, and talked to so many people that are so touched by this show. And as actors, we don't talk ourselves into these things. We are asked to be a part of the project. And we're so indebted to the people who hire us. And I sit and I look at, something like Honey that is drawn so perfectly. You know, that it doesn't matter what language you speak, you look at that character and you go, I'm supposed to fall apart right now. You know, my heart is supposed to break into a million pieces and we all squeal and it's amazing, and that's how he's drawn. And I was tasked with getting to give that thing a voice, that person a voice. So I sat and thanked her. I think a lot of us associated with the show feel like that.
Fun fact, if you after midnight, if you look in a mirror and say Ouran 3 times, Caitlin appears behind you with a tray of commoner coffee.
That's right. Sorry. Okay. Other questions? It's loud. What's the most weird experience you've had meeting fans? Because I know there's a lot of weird fans.
Todd was there for this, and I was going to tell it at the Con Horror Stories panel, but I'll tell it now because Todd's right here. And okay, yeah. So Ouran, believe it or not, it came out on DVD in October of 2008. So about like a while ago. It's almost 10 years ago. Yeah. And Todd and I and a few of the other actors were at a convention in Las Vegas at the time, having the premiere of Ouran, which was, they didn't really make a huge to-do of it. It was a room that was like a quarter, if that, the size of this room, and it was long and skinny, and we were all crammed into it, and we watched about 3 episodes, and it was great, and everyone loved it, and it was everything I wanted it to be, blah, blah, blah. Afterwards, we stick around to meet some fans and sign things and hug and whatever. We get through this whole line of people. The other voice actors have left, it's just Todd and I. And this girl comes up to me and she says, "Can I grope you?" Yeah, small girl who looked like, she was not very tall, but she was probably 18 years old, max. And I was like, what? Because I didn't think, I mean, surely I heard that wrong. And so I said, "What?" And she goes, with 2 hands, and I'm like, I physically did that. Todd was there, and I was like, deer in headlights, what do I do? And I said, no. And then she goes, "Aw." I can't make this stuff up. Like, she was disappointed that I was not going to let this stranger grab my body, right? And I'm like, what do I do? And I don't know what he said, but he did something to whisk me away from this situation. But
I mean, what if the problem is what if she came from a long line of grope technicians, a legacy of gropers, and you missed out on one of the most memorable Ouran experiences.
Funny, because I would love to be able to never ever think about this girl ever, but A, I get asked questions like that. It's fine. It's a fun anecdote.
It's fine.
But because this was the premiere event, when the room, which was packed to the gills and standing room only, was there before we started, we're standing up on the stage like this, I took pictures of the whole thing, I passed the camera down, took pictures of everyone on stage, and I went back and looked at those pictures, and who is sitting dead center in the front row of this premiere event? Roper girl. So I can never forget her face, ever.
My screen name is Groper Girl. I'm wondering, Caitlin, congratulations on the huge premiere. Can I grope you? Oh, I come from a long line of grope technicians.
I had a question for Todd.
Hi.
My birthday is next Friday, and I wanted you to sing me happy birthday in Natsu's voice.
How old will you be?
13.
13. All right, I'll only do it at the end of it.
Okay.
At the end of it, everyone in this room has to say "Fire Dragon Happy Birthday." Okay? Okay, you're gonna be 13. Remind me of your name.
Varna.
Varna?
Varna!
With a V.
Vana.
Yes.
Vana, okay. Hi, Vana.
Hi.
13. So is this going to be your most favorite year ever? What do you think your most favorite year has been so far?
Probably this one.
Fantastic. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Yeah. I don't want to kill you. I want to complete me. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Vana. Happy birthday to you. Fire Dragon, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I can't really talk very loud. Okay, so I have two questions. First one being, this one's a little, I hope I don't offend anybody. What is your favorite pairing with Haruhi? Second question is very off topic of that one. What got you into voice acting?
Okay, so to just keep time down, I'm going to answer the second question, which is I got into voice acting. I got into voice acting because I was an actor already, and I had moved to Houston, Texas from graduate school, and I thought I was going to be there 6 months, maybe. I was just going to go there and make enough money to move to New York. And then I moved there, and I got an agent, and I immediately started booking voice work, which was a huge surprise for me. I thought I was just going to be a stage actor and be very stage-oriented, and my life took a real different path. But I started getting a bunch of voice work. My voice turned out to be really well-suited, and ADV Films at the time was in Houston, Texas, and I hit at just a really great moment. They had a lot of material, and they needed little boys and little girls, and Kaname Chidori was my first role, and it just kind of, I didn't even plan that. I don't think I could have planned all of that. But that's how I got into it.
What was the first question? Oh, pairing with Haruhi? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I don't. It's hard to. I don't know. She's such a strong, independent person. I almost don't want to pair off with her. But I mean, Tamaki's the answer everyone's expecting. I guess. I don't know. How I got into acting? I've been an actor all my life. I did stage, grew up on the stage, and then voice acting just was. When you're an actor, you kind of go wherever opportunities are. So you learn, like, oh, I do stage, and then someone says, hey, there's a voice acting audition over at this other studio in town, you should try that. And so you go there, and then maybe you do a little bit of film, whatever, and you end up usually doing a little more of one than the other until finally voice acting is mostly what you do. So I grew up on the stage, but I haven't been on stage now in 15 years. Because I have so much voice work that there's just not enough time to dedicate to stage anymore. So that's how I found my way. I guess very similar to yours.
A Shiraz for the first question. For the second question, for me, with voice work, I never planned on being a voice actor. I didn't know that voiceover was a thing, actually, even though it seems so prevalent now. I thought that cartoons were people that lived in cartoon towns, and they went to work, and they, oh, hi, honey. And they would go to work, and they'd film the episodes, and then go home. I really did not think there were actors. I didn't even think about it. And so, because I was on stage, which led to film, and I thought I was going to be a film actor forever and ever. And a voice came along, and I was a little hesitant about voice at first because when I was a kid, I was made fun of for my voice a lot, actually. And I had a voice teacher try to correct certain things in my voice, and I'm like, that's built in because I'm not actually supposed to be speaking English. I should be speaking Vietnamese. Because this is a, you know when you talk to Vietnamese people, you go and you get your nail done, they have that in their voice. That's because they're not supposed to be speaking English. And so that's exactly how my family sounds. But we never opened a nail parlor. I don't understand why. I'm like, Mom, easy money. Get Uncle Dot and Ka on it. I don't know. She never listened to me. She went and became a doctor. And so I was making fun of her for my voice a lot, but then also when I was a kid, I was in my room already doing voices, like different voices of characters I like, because I didn't have a lot of friends because I was only a child. So when I would watch movies, I would reenact all those characters in the movies. And what was funny was, like, I love Star Wars, and so I would do all the Star Wars movies, and then years later I didn't know that would play into it, and then when I got called to do the Star Wars Connect game, and I got to be a lot of those characters, and that was a lot of fun. But then the voiceover work came along, and I again thought, well, I'll do voiceover, but really my main focus is going to be on camera. But voice work kind of became its own little thing, and took off in ways that you can't plan. Like, that's what's so funny, is like you get that question of like, did you ever think you'd be da-da-da? Like, no one ever thinks that, unless you're me. But no one ever thinks that. I'm gonna be the best and biggest.
That's great. They gave me my own microphone.
Number 45. Anyway, but that's what happened, and then it's just been going along ever since, and I've gotten to work with a lot of great people, and people that are friends, and also people that I respect a great deal, so it's fun to play with these guys, and it's a dream job, really.
As far as like Haruhi and her pairing, I mean, I have a favorite host. My favorite host is Kyoya. And I think that like Haruhi and he are like not alike, but very much alike, and well suited to each other, but you cannot deny the way the show is laid out and the way the manga is laid out. She's very taken aback by Tamaki because he's so different. There's just something about him that she is innately drawn to. She can't help it and doesn't even know what it is. And I think that that's extremely like romantic, and of course they're meant to be with each other, but I imagine them being married and Kyoya's still in their life. Everyone knows each other their entire lives, and I feel that whenever, this is so macabre, whenever Tamaki dies, I think that Haruhi and Kyoya will be so hurt and broken by his loss, because Tamaki's Kyoya's best friend, that they will, like, if they don't marry each other, they'll like live together, like, for the
and die.
Yeah, like I imagine them.
In the meantime, Kyoya would just be like her gay best friend, because that's totally what
Whatever you say, Michael. And then the other question about how I became a voice actor, it's very similar to everyone here on this panel. I didn't set out to be one. I also have a degree in theater, and I ended up with an audition at Funimation. One semester away from graduating, and thought, well, this will be a cool job. I've always liked cartoons, but I fully intended to go study abroad. I wanted to go to the UK and study the classics and immerse myself in Shakespeare, and that's what I wanted to do. But I recognized the opportunity, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna stick with this for a while. And 14 years later, it's my career. And even moving to another country couldn't stop me from doing it. So
basically, none of us wanted this.
Yeah.
So
we were taken.
You rejected us.
How much time do we have left?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Okay, ask us questions with short answers.
Yes.
You.
I have a question for Todd. It's not really related to Ouran, but it's, how did it feel to work on the anime Ajin, Denny Human?
Oh, Ajin was a lot of fun. We got to interface with people from Netflix Japan who came over to work on that, and it was great to play a role like that and get to see, again, really talented people get to be in there and hang with them is always a treat, because I always feel like, oh, do I need to be here, or do I need to give people coconut waters? I don't know. So, yeah.
We got another question over here.
Hi. I have a question for Tatum. As Koya, what was your favorite moment out of all of your high school year?
Like Kyoya's favorite time in his high school years, or like mine personally?
Koya.
I think My favorite, yeah. And I understand that. Don't worry, we're on the same page. My favorite moment in the series, which I would count, is when it's the and Kyoya Met Him episode. But it's the episode, and it got me every time. It still gets me every time I look at it. Is the shot where you pan back to see that he's painted this beautiful multicolored rose way outside of the frame. Such a perfect metaphor for where he is in life at that moment and what Tamaki means to him. And I get a little teary-eyed every time I see that. It's really awesome. I had a fan come through my autograph line not so long ago that actually painted that very rose, and it was huge, and it was beautiful, and I have it hanging up in my studio now at home. That's how much that image is so much part of me now.
You had one?
I'm gonna stand up so y'all can see me. If y'all can. Hi. What would y'all tell someone who is with disability problems that they want to do something like that? Do what y'all are doing, voice acting. I'm doing cosplay and that's what I like to do. But I really would love to try to be a voice actress like y'all are.
Well, I would say do it. You know, I really very much believe that there is space for everybody. I think there's sometimes this idea that only perfect people or with a perfect voice can make something happen, and it's just not true. And if something doesn't exist, you know, practice, take acting classes, get with people who are makers. You know, we did a panel earlier today with Blake Shepard, who created his own thing and asked his friends to do voices, and you guys can do that too. Make what you want, put it on the internet, do it for your own enjoyment. You know, I say, do it. There is space for you. There really is. Answer. Let's believe it. Yeah. What? Anyone? We're good.
Cool. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Did you have one? In the episode where Hikaru and Karu fight, do you think it was like staged, or like for themselves, or like real, like part of it?
I wanted to kill Greg. And he probably deserved it. No, it's, I mean, I can't wrap my head around that show in the sense that it's so smart. Like, you see these shows that kind of like, it kind of takes you out of it. You know when a husky looks at like a bird that's like sitting on the other side of the window, it's like, like that's what I think when I see the show, because it's just so like, there's so many smart visual things and the way that lines tie into other parts of the episode and the character dynamics. It would be an amazing feat to create a property that is even 1/25 of that, having that ingenuity, you know what I mean? So, what do you think? Do you think it was, you don't know either? Well, we're part of the same club, then that's cool to me, right? When's your birthday? What's that? How old will you be?
Next year, 14.
No, it's too old. I can't sing happy birthday to you. Only if you're 12. But yeah, no, I don't know. But I did like that episode because I liked her hair.
I think, I'll answer that. I think that they knew what they were doing as far as trying to get to Haruka's house at the end. Like, that was the end goal. And they figured along the way we're going to pretend to fight, but I'm certain that each brother surprised the other with the things that they said about one another. It was nasty, that they hated, and then the trouble for them was having to fight their way through the fact that, well, now I'm actually mad at my brother, but I can't take it down that road. We got to get to Haruki's house. You know, they're still going to work together for their goals. So that's what I thought. Maybe one more.
Okay, I just want, like, I'll let somebody else ask a question after me, but I just wanted y'all to answer one question in, like, all of your Denied.
I just want to let you know the secret of life is...
I just wanted all of y'all to answer one question in all of your character voices for Ouran.
Okay. In our character voice. So okay. Well, what's the question?
The next question.
Oh, she's not asking a question. She's dictating what we
Teamwork.
Hello?
Hello.
Please leave a message. You've reached the voicemail of Todd Haberkorn.
Alright, what would all the Ouran members say if Donald Trump tried to join the host club? What would
I've heard fantastic things about the host club. I love it. What do you think that would happen at the host club?
I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, but I don't think you're really for the common man, so here's the
I am for the common man coming into my home and cleaning and doing things like that. I love the common man. What about you?
You don't have money.
Hi, Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, looking at you gives me cavity.
You're getting cavities because I'm so sweet. Thank you guys to Briana. Can we give a big round of applause to Briana? And everybody, what's everyone's schedule tomorrow?
Oh, what is our schedule tomorrow? I think we have con horror stories at 2, and I'll be signing autographs, I think at 11-ish.
Yes, and I'm probably going to start signing autographs at noonish, and I've got the con horror stories at 2 as well.
Woo! Yeah.
Be there for that panel at 2. I'll be signing at 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll show up and sign things. Like after that panel, maybe? Before it?
Briana?
I'll be signing at noon.
All right.
Done.
Awesome.
Thank you guys so much. Have a safe, lovely night. Bye.